The Mystery of BELICENA VILLCA. Fourth Book. Quest for Uncle Kurt. Chapter 32. It was full midday when we left the Chawtons. The Docks Davis demanded to climb through the western hillside of one of the Elton Tag, but, suddenly, we discovered a dissembled path that permitted to ascend some 1,000 meters. 4 fatiguing hours later, we arrived to the peak of the mount, noticing that from the north, the mountain fell thousands of meters in a vertical wall. From the base, was extended in every direction a white desertic plain, except towards the northwest, where the blue waters of a lake of enormous surface was spotted. "Tell!" exclaimed the efficient von Grossen. "We have the luck to contemplate the country from a privileged terrace of 4,000 meters. What we see, in all its extension, is the Chinese province of Xinjiang. That plain, in no other than the desert of Taklamakan, which is connected with the Mongol desert of Gobi, on its oriental extreme. And the lake, with all precision, treats about the Lot Nora. Finally, a geographic area that is adjusted to the reality of the German maps. But, if out of the Valley of the Immortals, the world continued the same, on its interior the space and time were so distorted as before, the traitor gods, and the priests of the wide fraternity, lurked to close our way or attack us, and we still had to localize Ernst Schaefer. This last occurred before the predicted. Effectively, while we observed the Xinjiang amazed, the Kalika monks explored the 100 square meters of the summit, and in few minutes, they brought us shocking news. At the feet of the southern slope was a campsite. We ran there, and verified it, with the binoculars. There were no doubts. It was the German campsite. The small glen, which seemed more a comb, measured some 500 meters long, and 50 meters wide, and, in winter, it had the function to transport the snow of a gigantic glacier, as Titanic Stone Channel was oriented from east to west, and on each extreme, huge ravine permitted to enter or leave. From inside, it could be observed that the western ravine was flanked by the sculptures of 2 enormous, armed bodhisattvas. For some reason, the expedition not dared to cross that portal of stone so eloquently noted, and they decided to camp in the opposed extreme of the glen, next to the ravine of the entrance. It was seen that they had already some days in such place, and that perhaps they thought to stay more time, because they had unpacked all the equipment and distributed rationally, after a rigorous encamping. We even disposed of 2 sentinels, one in the east, and the other in the west of the field. For the moment, largely rubbed to encounter ourselves with the expedition of Schaefer, von Grossen elaborated a plan of approximation for which was only missing to act tactical details according to the circumstances. Given the present case, it was just necessary to confirm the positions and functions of each one of us to make that the squadron be disposed to execute the plan. According to that, we descended in silence to the entrance of the glen, site in which the path of the summit disembogued. Once there, von Grossen, Eskadfil, the Gurkha, and me, with the Docks Davis, remained hidden for some minutes, while the 3 officers SS, and the 8 monks Lepus, were displayed around the campsite. They had to stay sheltered, and cover our next advance, in prevision of a misunderstanding or that something could go wrong. Without suspecting anything, the sentinel was smoking, distracted by his own thoughts, remembering perhaps the far homeland. The 3 Germans emerged suddenly before him, and he believed to be dreaming. But it was too late to react, especially at seeing the black mouths of the Smyser, the Luger, the dagger, and the automatic rifle MP40, pass to the hands of von Grossen. "We're officers of the Third Reich," explained von Grossen, "but we cannot run risks. Heil Hitler. Now, approach to the campsite, very slowly, and notify about our arrival." "Heil Hitler," replied the troubled sentinel. With exquisite delicacy, he went glimpsing to each one of the 6 tents, and communicating what happened to their occupants. Many, possibly, would have supposed that the sentinel raved. In seconds, 20 or more men gathered, but it could not be distinguished who was officer or non-commissioned officer. because all were dressed with civilian suit. One of them released an exclamation and walked closer many steps. "I know you. You are the Standartenführer, Karl von Grossen. What the hell are you doing here, in the armpit of the Tibet?" "And I know who you, Standartenführer, Reinhard von Krupp," replied archly the always well-informed von Grossen, remarking the grade and name of the officer. From his years in the Gestapo, von Grossen conserved the bad custom to put some suggestive emphasis at naming the persons, trying to make them understand that he had confidential information over the more compromising. "We're here for..." Von Grossen was going to proceed, when he was interrupted by the apparition of Ernst Schaefer. It is possible, and even more today, very probable, that Schaefer would have lost his reason irreversibly before such unexpected spectacle. To comprehend that, must be imagined, what would be for him to have arrived to the Valley of the Immortals, at one step form the sanctuary of the Mother Queen of the West, and the door of Changshamabala, and warn that instead of the Eretz, appeared a group of Germans, one of them his sworn enemy. And with him, inexplicably, was the propitiatory victim, XXXII, and the disappeared Gurkha. Ah ha 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 ha. He released a demental howl and claimed, "Shoot them, kill them all." The SS officers and troop lifted their fusils, but they waited for his Standartenführer to confirm the order. Schaefer was the officer of the Ardwa, and he had no direct command on the Schutzstaffel. That indecision avoided an armed struggle of unpredictable consequences. "They are Germans, the men of the SS." Von Krupp tried to explain it, who was astonished before the hallucinative attitude of Ernst Schaefer. But he had extracted his Luger, and pointed his gun against me, with the clear intention to erase me from the world of the living. He didn't reach to shoot. In a fast movement, 2 of the SS of his expedition pounced over him, and took him as a hostage. One of them snatched his pistol, while the other put a dagger over his throat. They were 2 spies of the SD. "At the first who moves, we behead this man," threatened one of them. "Come closer, my Standartenführer, and dismantle those 4 men," he added, signalizing the followers of Schaefer. Karl von Grossen didn't delay, and he screamed many orders. Before the general surprise, Hans and Klester emerged from the rocks, and they rapidly put down the weapons of the 4 of them, who offered none resistance. 6 figures, dressed with saffron tunics, and with their countenance and hands covered with ashes, they tried to escape on the run towards the west exit of the glen, but they fell a few steps riddled with arrows, with the skushok of the Ashram Jafram and his lamas. That filled the measure. Von Krupp bellowed at the same time an order, and all his men put their bodies on the ground. The squadron of von Krupp doubled us in number. Nevertheless, the common sense prevailed, and the Standartenführer interrogated von Grossen angrily. "What is this, von Grossen? You come here, treat us like if we were enemies, and kill the Tibetan guides, who counted with our protection. I imagine that will have a good justification for that outrage. We have nothing against you, but against that herd of traitors," von Grossen vociferated. "And if it seems to you enough justification, here are our orders, approved by the Führer." He extended him a sealed pocket that said, "Old Western Operation." Reinhard von Krupp opened it, and extracted the letter. It was a decree of brief text. He moved his head affirmatively, and commented to Schaefer. "They have come from Germany, to take care of the expedition. From this moment the security and logistics are in charge of the Standartenführer Karl von Grossen." The countenance of Schaefer seemed whiter than the snow of the Elton Tag. Von Krupp said in tone sufficiently high as to be heard by everyone, "By my part it is fine. I accept the orders, and put myself under your command. But you will have to explain me, what means your accusation of betrayal? And how is that XXXII is with you?" The SS loosened the pressure of the knife. The men of von Krupp stood up and put their fusils down, while Heinz and the 8 Kalika monks were coming closer, these last with the arrow mounted in their arch yet. "Betrayal!" screamed the traitor, out of his mind. "Betrayal! Damn killers, you don't know the harm that you have caused to Germany and humanity. Ha 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 ha. Von Subeman, son of the demon, I knew that you wanted to stop our mission. You have come to destroy us. We should have killed you in Germany. For your guilt, I will be punished. The masters will never forgive me your condemned presence in this sacred valley." When the air at VILLCA left, I should have imagined that some terrible was happening. It was you. You and your execrable stain, that offends the holy beings. Damn you 1,000 times, von Subeman, abortion of hell. How do you found me? He wrought, completely incensed. The 2 spies SS maintained him subjected to the arms to avoid that he fell over me. Despicable Herr Lehrer, the last thing that I would have wanted in my life was to see you again, I affirmed honestly. The merit to have arrived here is thanks exclusively to these noble dogs. Thereupon, I dropped the leashes a little of the dogs Davis, that still obeyed the order search for Ernst Schaefer, and the dogs jumped and released 2 fiery bites, at centimeters from his neck. With the eyes extortionate of terror, the countenance decomposed for the anger, Schaefer was the image of the madness. Now you see, only an infernal being could come accompanied by the 2 wolves of Wettin. Do not accept that decree, von Krupp, and kill them all. You are still at time to prevent a terrible evil for Germany and the world. I assure you that nothing will happen if you obey me. Better said, I guarantee you that you will be rewarded as a hero. You are mad, Schaefer. In Germany there is no one superior to the Führer. If don't comply these orders, the only award that I will receive will be a rope of hemp with sliding knot. Apologized von Krupp. No, comrade von Krupp, I clarified. It is not about words of a madman, but of a traitor. He does believe that exist more powerful men than the Führer. They are who plan the disappearance of the Third Reich, and have entrusted him a secret mission that will help to fulfill the betrayal. And about you, Herr Lehrer, it is certainly that Kla and Epler are not the wolves of Wettin, although it is true that I come from a hell and that now I'm in a major hell, the one which is located behind that endless door, at the end of the glen, that is to say, your beloved Chang Shambhala, the lair of the immortal demons. Blasphemy! Blasphemy! Kill them, von Krupp. Kill them now, and you'll save your soul. Kill them before it be too late, and they release Lucifer in the world. Implored, with the control of his words completely lost. Karl von Grossen, ordered to enclose him in a tent, under the custody of Hans and Klester. It was getting dark, and the Kalika monks hurried to lift the tents, before the amazed sight of the squadron of von Krupp. He came closer to us, and asked without major delicacy, "Can anyone explain me what is going on?" It was supposed that I had to drive and protect a scientific expedition that had as objective to investigate the Oriental ancestors of the Aryan race. It has nothing to do with which I am hearing. Demons, hells, treason to the Reich. What means all these madness? How could be the Third Reich betrayed in this remote place? And the most incredible, where did they find Eskadfil? How they followed us? What is that of Wettin's wolves? For half an hour, von Grossen clarified the best he could all the doubts of von Krupp. Then, he propounded a question for which von Grossen had none answer. "And what are we going to do now?" "My orders," revealed von Grossen. "They specify that at making contact with the expedition, I must act according to the instructions of the Sturmbannführer Kurt von Subeman. And as you must obey me, I will not retransmit you such instructions if both of us know them at the same time," concluded with crushing logic. "And well, von Subeman, what do you have to tell us?" "That we have to return immediately to Germany," I said without doubts. "Tomorrow, we must undertake the return. To Ernst Schaefer and his 4 accomplices we will guide them arrested, but if they resist, we will execute them, under my responsibility. Karl von Grossen approved without reservations that decision, but the most relieved was von Krupp. That's all. Come back to Germany is the best news that I have heard in more than a year. I feared that we could continue the expedition of the Tibet. I adhere totally to that proposal. The truth is that I was already tired of Ernst Schaefer and his mysteries. Poor von Krupp. Neither von Grossen nor me imagined then that he would never return to German.